Hey there, it's Zach from Next Home Envision, and I just wanted to jump right into it. Why do I always say jump right into it? Blah. Today we're going to talk about 2022 goals. So the new year is upon us. It's here. We can't go back. You know, it's actually January 6th, so I'm a little bit behind on giving you this video, but that's okay. But before we jump into it, I really want to talk about the difference between New Year's resolutions and goals. Like 2022 goals, the goals for this year and what you plan to accomplish. Now, most of us really get into this issue where we think they're the same thing, but they're not. And so, number one, a resolution is really an aim to do or to not do something, right? So like, I want to eat less. Well, don't eat less, but I want to eat better, or I want to exercise more, or I want to maybe eat less sugar or something like that. But while a SMART goal is where you take that resolution, you sort of flip it on its end, and you give it something that's, measurable or actually sort of attainable, or ways you can stay in relationship with those things, which we call goals, or maybe you've learned before what we label as the SMART goal, right? So for those that don't know what a SMART goal is, it's S for specific, it's an acronym. M for measurable, A for actionable, R for realistic, and then T for timely. So what we're doing is we're taking that resolution and we're actually making it aim towards a result, right? Something that we can actually accomplish, and something that at the end of 2022, when we do or don't accomplish it, we can go yes or no, versus a resolution. We can always, again, this is why it appeals to be able to make resolutions, because we can twist them, we can pivot them, we can change them, we can go, well, yeah, maybe I did accomplish it, kind of, or I did, but I don't know.
A simple yes or no is fine.
Versus a goal is like you did or you didn't accomplish it. It hits you right in the face at the end of the year and you go, dang, I didn't do that. So, moving in and producing goals, I think the first thing to realize is that we really want to stay organized so we can stay in relationship with our goals. I think that's the biggest challenge I've had since when I was 16 to now as a 22-year-old, soon to be 23, very young still, but I've learned that the challenge I've had is staying in relationships with my goals. I make a goal and then I start pushing away at it, just like a resolution. I start pushing away at it and the first 3 months go by and I'm working really hard, and then I start to kind of wean out and I check my goals occasionally. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm still kind of on pace for that. Like I can accomplish this, and then I either do barely accomplish it, or I do or do not, which is obviously the result I don't want. So understanding that we want to organize them, but there's also different facets or categories or genres, I guess, if that's the right word, of life that goals matter to us, right? And I think we always lead with money, and we maybe sometimes lead with just like our health, but there's so many different ways. And I think there's multiple different characters, authors that have labeled different categories, maybe the 5 F's, which I think I've talked about on my Instagram before, which is like family, fitness, friends, faith, etc. And then there's what I'm using this year for 2022 is the Raise Plus Planner. So Raise Plus is actually relationship, assets, intellect or intelligence, it's spiritual, and then it's exercise. So, and then the plus is sort of things that don't fill in that category, so that kind of makes up for the loose ends. But this is actually developed by a fellow named Ryan Panetta, which is he's a real estate influencer as well as a big real estate entrepreneur and all these different things. Flips all these houses, it's awesome. So you can check him out, he's pretty cool. And so I'm using this is actually from his 2021 planner, but I liked it so much I'm gonna use it for my 2022. But either way, before we jump into my goals, I just want you to realize no organization means you got no idea where you're at.
Where am I?
You got no idea. So keep that in mind as we go through the videos. Now, always what I struggle with, like I said, is making them digestible, right? So I take a goal, I try to break it down to, this is what it looks like for the year, which means it needs to be this much for the month, which means earning needs to be this much for the quarter, and then the month, and then the day. So it goes year, quarter, month, day / week. I mean, really, honestly, to the day in the week, it's such a short time that it's important to kind of lump those together. It's very situational. And then what's really cool about this specific race planner which I was telling you about, and I'll share with you, is it has this really cool spreadsheets that way you can log in every Monday and see what goals you did or didn't accomplish and plug them in, and then that way you can stay in weekly relationship with your goals, if not daily, depending on the goal, like I said. So first I'm going to share with you my fun goals. Okay, so my fun goals, and one that I'm really excited about, is getting married, right? I'm going to be 23, and I'll just turn 23, and then I'm going to get married, and that's going to be part of my birthday celebration, and I'm super excited about that. I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't talk about, is a relationship with their spouses and with their friends and their family, and it is so great to be with somebody that is going to be a supporter of my goals and can lift me up when times I'm down, and then vice versa. And then so my second goal, and so obviously the married one is a relationship goal, and then number 2, a spiritual goal, is for me to go on a missions trip. Now, many of you that don't know me don't know that I'm really, really passionate about serving. It's actually a big mission of mine one day to run a nonprofit. So working with mission ministries and different mission companies and nonprofits, it gets me really excited and gets the wheels turning for to be like, where do I fit in this equation, and where can I fill a need that hasn't been filled by either this company or somebody else or organization. So that's a big one. That's a spiritual goal. And then my third one, which would be sort of a relationship goal, or it could be sort of a like part of that plus, is I want to help 10 new investors get a deal. So that being said, shameless plug, if you want to comment below, I would love to work with you and talk with you and network you, whether you're in my market or you're not, in any way I can assist you to help get your first deal. It'd be a huge part of just what I stand for, and also would help me reach my goals. So let me help you reach your goals, and you can help me reach mine. And then getting past the fun goals, there are some really terrifying goals that I have. Like super terrifying, like scare the bejesus out of me, if that's a real word. And so talking about those, here we go. Okay, number 1, read 24 books. Now, last year I set a goal to read 12 books, and somehow I read like 18 books, and I'll have to check on that, but I read like 18 books. I cannot believe it. This comes from the kid, and maybe some of you that are watching this might know me from when I was younger, but I could barely read, and I still can barely read. So it's taking me so long to be able to get good and really enjoy reading books, as somebody that's always just been like, hey, let me watch some television, clicks on The Office, whatever. But the reality is, I love reading now, and I get excited for it. Sometimes it's really mentally taxing, so there's times I kind of am on low points, but consistently I try to read at least 15 pages a day, or I try to read 10 pages from 2 different books, depending on what I'm reading, what kind of goals I'm trying to achieve. And usually my books are structured around things I want to achieve and who I want to be. I don't really read for fun yet, so I'm not really at that level yet. For those of you that read for fun from like the fictional standpoint, it's always nonfiction. It's always things I want to add value to my life. And for those that are looking to start reading and they want to be in entrepreneurship but they hate reading, start with that in mind, and that's the only way that you'll get excited about reading, is wanting to accomplish things and just reading things that are extremely technical and related to those things. Bigger Pockets is a great resource for this if you want to do real estate. And then obviously just listening to podcasts, there's always people that are preaching their books, and if you like their podcast topics, you might like their books. So start that way. And then so number 2 is 4 fitness events. Now, I consider myself somewhat of an athlete. I'm a decent athlete, but I haven't really done a lot of fitness events, purely in the sense that don't involve a ball and a goal, right? Now, so the fitness events I want to do are some of the ones like I'm trying to push for doing more 5Ks, but even then I want to push towards half marathons. So this is one that I'm still I'm talking about it and I'm preaching into it, but it's just one of those things that I need to define what specific fitness events. But either way, I want to make it accomplished, because one day I want to work up to running a marathon. Now, I don't have that in my plan for 2022. That's probably my 2023 plan. And I'm okay with that. I think that the reality is there's all these different facets of life, and I want to be able to check boxes and create momentum in my life to achieve bigger things. And right now, the 4 fitness events isn't at the top of my list, but it's on my list and it will happen. And then number 3, so now I'm working my way to the more and more terrifying goals. And so number 3 and number 4 are probably my scariest goals, but I'm super excited about them. And here it comes. Number 3 goal is I want to build $10K per month passive income through rental income. So where I'm at now, I'm sitting right around $2,000, right, really $2,300 per month in rental income, just as a tidbit for my 3 rentals, that is. So I'm super excited about that income, and I think I'm really happy with that. But I want to really push to the next level and say what can happen. Like, I've set these goals before, and then I hit them almost too soon. So I'm like, well, what if I hit something that seemed almost too unrealistic? And so many people might read a 10,000. Oh my gosh, what would that do? That does a ton. That's a lot of money, right? Like, what would that do for your income? What would that do for even where I started out? I'm like, 2,300 has done a lot for me. So I want to try to leverage the ones I have right now, and I want to actually get into the Airbnb space. So that's just a little bit of a taste of what I'm doing. Now, for those that are interested in maybe in what I'm doing, the biggest thing is I want to do is utilize partnerships and private lending to make it happen, rather than my own money. And well, some obviously will require some of my own money, but either way, it's to get in with less of my money and leverage my abilities and skills that I've learned over the last 2-3 years of doing real estate. And so number 4 is I want to sell $4 million in real estate. And so this will be a big one for me. It's an interesting one as a experienced investor and as a newer agent. It's going to be a huge challenge for me in my market. And really, 4 million in real estate turns out to be about 10 to 14 transactions, so really right around 12. So something I'm super excited about, but it's super like, ooh, what do I need to do? So it's been this challenge of working in and saying, who am I going to put in my life to make this possible? How am I going to, orchestrate my schedule and things to be able to accomplish both goals and really make a killing? So that's going to be a huge challenge for me, but I'm really excited about it. And so obviously these goals, so reading 24 books is going to be an intellect one, right? So that's one that's going to push my brain harder. It's going to actually cause a lot. It's a lot of mental hurdles you have to jump over to read that much and to consume that much. And so it's something I'm excited about. It's going to be important to actually spend good time with those books too, and not just like blow through them and not get anything out of them. So I don't want to just audiobook everything. Even last year when I read 18 books, I really don't know if I audiobook any of them. So I'm hopefully trying to introduce like things like Libby and like Audible, I think is the other one, so that I can start audiobook kind of like reading things, plus continue to stay in relationship with the physical books where you read and you digest a lot more. And then the fitness events obviously is exercise. For those of you that don't know, fitness is exercise. So that's going to push me to really continue training. And so this is something that I hope to motivate me weekly to stay in relationship with trying to keep good health and not just like stuffing bad stuff in my body, because I'm a big eater. Especially a nervous eater. I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's something that's motivating. I'm really, from a fitness and exercise side, I'm like motivated by like competition. Like, I need something to be striving towards. So these fitness events are like what I'm really hoping to push me over the edge and be like, hey, get after it weekly, hit your 3 to 4 workouts per week, hit them hard, etc. And then the 10K per month is obviously an asset / income goal. And then the selling 12 transactions or 4 million, that's an asset or income goal. So that being said, this is how we structure things. This is how really I understand my goals, and this is me being accountable and saying I will accomplish these things. And I would love for you guys to follow my progress, and maybe like halfway through the year or maybe even after the first quarter, I'll talk about the things that I've done. And so the biggest, scariest goals I have right here by me. So just something to think about, a great idea, just buying an old frame, printing something out, or even writing it by hand and just writing down like how you will do things and speak them into your life, because I think that manifesting is so powerful. I don't think that you can manifest without doing stuff. So keep that in mind. Don't be like,
hey, I'm gonna just manifest it and not touch anything.
Not pick up any work or do anything. Pick up a hammer and swing it. That's the challenge. So you really have to go out there and try to accomplish things. So working through all this and understanding it, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your goals. And so as you go and you set out and you say, hey, maybe you want to use the raise structure, maybe you don't, maybe you only have like 3 or 4 goals. I think the important thing about all of these things is post these cheesy cliche sticky notes around wherever you can see them, right? So that's a big thing to me, is where put your goals in front of you every day. So maybe you go brush your teeth, you see your goals. Maybe you go sit on a toilet, you can see your goals. I mean, a big thing is even on my phone, like my sort of my life goals, my things I strive for forever, like those are on my phone rather than like some goofy picture of like my dog or something like that. I can see my goals, and there's nothing wrong with a goofy picture of your dog, by the way, but it's just something that you stay in relationship with them and you can maintain that. And then another thing is, when you set out to make your goals, make sure you not only type them, but you write them down with your hands, like with your physical, with a pen and a piece of paper, write them down. And I think that sounds like, you're like, come on, Zach, what are we, you know, this is 2022. But the reality is, your brain, the way it processes that, and again, I'm no genius, I don't always understand how it works, but there's something that really works within you, and you have this commitment to it. When you write it down and you say, when you write it down and say, I will do this, it makes you more likely to move forward and be actionable and take on your goals with a full head of steam, versus being like, I can always change the type of words, you know. Write it down. And so something that I think about, and I think the biggest takeaway if you watch this video and you forget everything else, is that the purpose of a goal, or the goal of a goal, is not always the outcome or the result. It's actually the person that the goals turn us into, right? Because goals work in two ways. They work on us, and then we work on them. Let me say that again. Goals work in two ways. They work on us, and then we work on them. We work on them and they work on us by us building new habits, new behaviors to become that person who can achieve those things, because that person who can achieve those things is inside of you. Again, I'm sounding very cliche, sounding very cheesy maybe if you don't love inspirational stuff, but this is a reality, and the sooner you can set that in your brain, that you, like, the person that can achieve these goals is within you, the more you sell yourself on the goals, because that's the big thing, right? You can't just write down your goals and be like, this will happen. You have to sell yourself on those goals and say, I want this to happen, and I'm gonna do everything it takes. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you learned something from this. And above all else, please, if you have any questions, if you have something, maybe even drop a comment with your own goals. And let's rock 2022, well, not 2021, 2022, and make it a great year. And don't forget to subscribe and like and do all that nonsense. Peace.